What are you doing here?
Relaxing, this is my house.
ID, now.
For what? I'm not going anywhere.
Sir, we need to see some ID.
ID? For sitting in my own backyard?
It's the law, now.
This is harassment.
What do you think you're doing here?
This your house? You don't look like you belong. I live here, I'm reading. This is private property.
Get up, now.
No.
What's your business here?
I live here, this is my house.
We need to see some ID,
Hey,
now.
No, man, this is ridiculous.
Sir, you need to leave. This is private property.
I live here, this is my house.
We have reports of a
I'm
trespass.
getting this.
You don't belong here. Show me some ID. Andre froze. 1 minute he was enjoying the sun. The next, 2 police officers were looming over him in his own backyard. Their boots crunched across the patio, eyes scanning him as if he had snuck into someone else's home. Step away from the pool, one barked. Andre blinked in disbelief. This was his property, his sanctuary, and yet they treated him like a trespasser. There were no warnings, no polite questions, just commands. Even the birds seemed to quiet down. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, sensing tension. Phones appeared in hands, cameras aimed. The question hung in the air. What happens next? The summer afternoon felt suddenly dangerous, and Andre knew this encounter could spiral fast. Andre Brooks wasn't just any homeowner. At 38, he had built his life from the ground up as a successful civil rights attorney. Years of tireless work fighting discrimination had earned him respect, awards, and a small fortune that allowed him to buy a spacious suburban home with a private pool. Today, he was finally at peace. The sun warmed his skin while jazz music floated across the yard. Smoke from a sizzling barbecue curled into the warm air, and a gentle breeze stirred the leaves on the trees surrounding his property. For once, his phone lay untouched on the side table. Andre took a sip of lemonade and sank further into his lounge chair. This backyard wasn't just a luxury, it was a haven. Every detail, from the sparkling tiles of the pool to the neatly trimmed hedges, was a testament to the hard work and sacrifices he had made. But not everyone welcomed Andre. Behind curtains and fences, neighbors whispered. Some eyes followed his movements, lingering too long. Something in the air felt heavy, almost expectant. Andraz's instincts, honed over years of dealing with prejudice in courtrooms and neighborhoods, tingled. Something feels off, he thought. He glanced toward the street, noticing a car idling a little too long, tires crunching gravel in a slow rhythm. The quiet hum of suburban life suddenly seemed charged, like a storm before it breaks. Even the birds, once cheerful, had gone silent. A subtle unease crept into his chest. He knew that this calm afternoon could turn into conflict at any moment, and his gut told him to be ready. Suspense hung like a fog over the pool, thick and unavoidable. Then he saw the flashing lights, slow and deliberate, approaching down the cul-de-sac. 2 police cars rolled to a stop outside his driveway. The officers stepped out, hands on their belts, faces unreadable. Andre remained seated, taking a slow breath. The first officer spoke, voice clipped, "Show me your ID." The second added, "You don't belong here. Step aside." Andre's calm mask stayed in place, but inside, his awareness sharpened. Every movement, every gesture was noted. Neighbors peeked, and cameras began recording. The tension grew thicker with every passing second. The afternoon, once filled with warmth and music, now felt charged with anticipation. Andre realized this wasn't just a random encounter, it could escalate, and the officer's authority felt heavy and looming. The officers began questioning him aggressively, their tone dripping with condescension. "Did you even buy this house?" One sneered. "We might need to take you downtown to verify." Every word carried suspicion. Each glance was a silent accusation. Andre's mind raced, but he stayed composed. He had faced injustice before, and he knew escalation could play into their hands. Cameras from neighbors' phones recorded every exchange. The subtle smirks and microaggressions stung, but Andre refused to react with anger. He met their eyes calmly, showing confidence without defiance. His heart beat steadily, though tension coiled in his chest. Neighbors whispered from behind fences, some stepping closer. Would this situation spiral out of control? Andre knew one wrong move could make things worse. Yet he also sensed that he could turn this encounter to his advantage, if only he stayed patient, The confrontation intensified. "We might have to take you downtown," one officer threatened, his voice smug. "You people always think you're smarter than us, don't you?" The words cut deeper than the heat of the sun. Andre felt a flash of anger but held it in check. He subtly tapped his phone, a small signal to an ally he trusted. The officer's insults continued, growing louder, more racially charged, but Andre remained composed. Short clipped sentences came from the officers, each designed to provoke. Andre's strategy was quiet, yet deliberate. He would not give them the satisfaction of reacting. Cameras continued to roll as neighbors leaned closer, sensing that something significant was about to happen. Every second stretched. Suspense mounted. The air felt electric, as if the calm before a storm had turned into its very first THUNDERCLAP. Andre stayed calm, every movement deliberate. While the officers continued their questioning, he discreetly pulled out his phone. A few taps later, he was connected to a powerful ally senator he had worked with on civil rights cases. This wasn't just a random homeowner being harassed. Andre had spent years building influence and respect, and now he quietly called in a favor. The officers had no idea what was coming. Each second dragged, tension mounting like a bowstring ready to snap. Andre's lips curved into a slight, knowing smile. Something big was about to happen. The suburban street, once a quiet backdrop for his relaxation, now felt like the stage for an unexpected reckoning. The audience, watching through cameras and phones, was about to witness a dramatic twist. Minutes later, two sleek black SUVs pulled into the driveway, the engines humming low but commanding. Men in dark suits stepped out, their presence radiating authority. Instantly, the smug arrogance of the officers vanished, replaced with uncertainty. The lead official approached Andre and the officers. Voice firm and unyielding. "You're detaining a homeowner without probable cause." Cameras flashed, neighbors gasped, and phones recorded every word. The officers shuffled awkwardly, glancing at each other, unable to respond confidently. Andre remained calm, arms folded, eyes steady. He didn't raise his voice, but the message was clear. The balance of power had shifted. The spectators, both neighbors and online viewers, felt relief mixed with suspense. The situation that had seemed so one-sided moments ago now hung in perfect tension. Justice inching closer with every second. The officers were escorted back to their cruiser, questions being asked of them for once. Andre stood tall, composed, the epitome of calm under pressure. He had handled the encounter with precision, never raising his voice, never losing control. Neighbors emerged from behind fences, whispering to one another, witnessing the transformation of the scene. Cameras continued to roll, capturing the officer's awkward compliance and Andre's serene confidence. This was more than a personal victory, it was a public statement. The neighborhood had seen justice in action. The suspense that had hung over the pool and street all afternoon finally resolved. Andre's quiet strength had turned the situation completely, leaving the officers humbled and the audience inspired. Within hours, the video of the confrontation went viral. Clips were shared, reposted, and debated across social media and news outlets. The officers faced internal investigations. One was suspended, another eventually resigned. But the real impact wasn't the punishment, it was the message. Andre's calm, informed, and strategic response showed that knowing your rights, standing firm, and acting wisely could turn harassment into accountability. Communities across the nation took notice. Conversations about racial profiling and bias were reignited. Andre became a symbol of grace under pressure, black excellence, and empowered action. For viewers, the story inspired reflection. How many incidents like this go unnoticed simply because no one records them? His courage proved that standing up for oneself, even in tense situations, could spark meaningful change. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button, it really helps. Comment below with your city or neighborhood so we can see how far this story travels. Subscribe for more real-life tales of courage, justice, and perseverance. Ask yourself, what would I do in Andre's shoes? Let this story remind you that knowledge.com and courage can turn the tide, even against the most intimidating odds. Share this story to inspire others, because every untold story deserves to be seen, and every act of bravery has the power to make a difference.